Alrighty, so it's that time of the day again where it's time to do the review of part one of match week number 22, where we're looking at the first 8 games. And pretty much all these games are not the late West Coast game that we had from yesterday, where part two is basically going to be all the 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific game that, of course, happened yesterday. And I'll talk about the one I went to yesterday as well. But yeah, there are definitely some teams that desperately needed a win, got a win. Some obviously didn't, but we'll start off with Atlanta United versus Toronto FC. And well, for Atlanta, the winless run finally comes to an end. They haven't won the game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium of what seems like forever, but it finally came to an end in this game against Toronto FC. Though I don't think the way that they won this game and the way that they scored that late winner was how they drawn up in terms of them ending this miserable winless run at home. Now, in the first half, 6 minutes in, Longstaff would puts it wide from long range, though Owusu then puts one right to Guzan just 7 minutes later, as Toronto definitely started well as they were looking to try to get the opening goal. And it looked like they got it in the 25th minute when Insigne puts it into the back net. But they did go to VAR to see whether or not if Insigne was in an offside position when he scored that. He was, so that goal, of course, was chopped off. We then go for a period where not much really happened, not much chances created. Munyumba would then puts it wide from long range, but then right as we head to halftime, it's that man again, Thiago Almada. Again, when Atlanta really needed a goal and really needed a spark, there is Thiago Almada there to the rescue. And why not? No, the fact that he's playing very well right now, knowing that there's a lot of rumors surrounding that he is going to be moved on in the summer. He's definitely trying to play at his best to basically either improve his new potential employee or the fact that that transfer fee might jacked up a little bit during the summer. But he scored here from Rios to give Atlanta a 1-0 lead, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half. That lead did not last long in the second half. In fact, it only lasted 55 seconds before the two Italian connected. It's Benedeschi scoring from Insigne to tie the game up at one apiece. Williams on the other left to respond, but he was denied by Gavron. And then Gavron denied Silva in the near post before he denied Thierry from long range in the 62nd minute as Atlanta started to get the momentum back. They were putting some sustained pressure, looking not for the opener, but more like for the lead back. Benedeschi then puts it wide on the curler before TRA would miss wide on the back post of the header in the 84th minute. And just as we thought that this was going to be another frustrating 1-1 draw for Atlanta and another game where they do not win at home, this happened. So TRA would score here to give the win for Atlanta United, but yeah, I've seen a lot of crazy goalkeeping howlers in MLS during my time covering the league for the past couple of years. And, believe me, I have seen probably the worst one where, when you basically pass it back to the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper, of course, get it, but he completely misplayed it and it goes into the back of net. In fact, I saw it twice happening. I saw it when Daniel Vega had that bad moment a couple of years ago where it was a back pass. I think it was against Dallas, where it was a back pass toward him and he completely missed it. And then I obviously remember the Sean Johnson moment in the inaugural game at Allianz Field where it was a back pass and Sean Johnson just completely missed it, and that gave the lead back for Minnesota United in that game. But I don't think I have ever seen a situation where, yeah, I mean, Gavron, he just kind of lost his focus and forgot that TRA was literally in the vicinity. Now, I will say this, give credit to TRA there. Not only practicing the dark arts there by stealing a little bit of drink from the goalkeeper water bottle, but he did a heads up play of just kind of in the vicinity, watching maybe that Gavron didn't realize that he was around, and he basically pounced on it as soon as Gavron basically put the ball and tried to kick it upfield. But yeah, again, that is just wild. That has got to go down as one of the craziest goalkeeping howler I have ever seen, and that. Yeah, I mean, in the end, that was the difference in this game. Atlanta gets a win. And honestly, if you would have told me that, if TFC, of course, it's something like this year and they're having a miserable season, I wouldn't blame you. I mean, this kind of felt like something we've seen from last season, and again, it's no wonder why recently with the way that TFC has started to kind of look like the team last season that won the wooden spoon, that they would do such a boneheaded play like what we saw in this moment. But yeah, in the end, like I said, a crazy 2-1 win for Atlanta. The shots in this one, 12 shots for the 15 that TFC had. Both teams had shots on goal, or 5 shots on goal, I'm sorry. 2 shots off target for 4 that TFC had. 6 shots on blocked for the 3 that Atlanta has. And possession-wise, 51% possession compared to the 49% possession that Atlanta has in this game. Just crazy ending to this game. Something that I don't think we would see something that very often. And I also would say that, this is why we have seen sometimes when teams decide to send a player or two trying to be near the goalkeeper as he was taking the goal kick, because you never know. Maybe there's going to be like a moment like this where the goalkeeper just didn't realize that the opposition wasn't near his own box, and next thing you know, losses concentration, and that of course has happened. And I got a feel for Gavron too, because again, as bad of a mistake as that is, let's just hope that doesn't completely take a huge shot of his confidence, because I think he's been playing okay lately. Obviously, he's been covering with the injured Sean Johnson there, but yeah, that's a hard moment to try and recover from a young goalkeeper like Lucas Gavron. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is Montreal and the Philadelphia Union. So as I said, this is kind of a bit of a desperation derby for two teams that they would expect that they should be better than where they're in the standings. And in the end, it's Montreal, the one that gets the desperation derby win. 10 minutes in, Martinez would hit it right to Rake, as that was the game first shot before Martinez would miss wide from close range in the 12th minute. Yeah, Joseph Martinez was definitely hungry in this one. But that also would be the only 2 shots we will see in the first 20 minutes. In fact, the first shot for the Union, it goes into the back of net as Quinn Sullivan would score for McGlynn here to give the Union a 1-0 lead. As I mentioned, that was the first shot for the Union, and kind of against the run of play a little bit, because I thought Montreal was the better side, at least in the early bit. Siwas then denied Sullivan on the near post as the Union started to have the momentum. They were looking for the second goal, though Vicen did head it wide from close range. But then the 36th minute, again, Joseph Martinez, he was very active in this one, so it's only fitting that he would eventually get on the scoreboard. So he scored here from Duke to tie the game up at 1 apiece. McGlynn then looked to answer, but he was denied by Siwas. But then in the 41st minute, the Union would take the lead back. It's Jesus Bueno, almost said Jose Bueno. There almost makes up Jose Martinez with Jesus Bueno. But yeah, he scored here from Flock there to give the lead back for the Union. There was definitely a question of offside there, but they said that of course is a good goal. So yeah, that gave the Union a 2-1 lead heading into the second half. Though heading into the second half, Montreal would tie it again, and it's Bryce Duke that gets the goal here, and it's just one of those ones where when you put it into the dangerous area of the box, that's kind of like almost no man's land in terms of the defending team and the goalkeeper as well. Where yeah, when it's put in such an interesting area where defenders they don't want to touch it, because if they touch it and they miss hits it, it's an own goal, and the goalkeeper probably won't. It's kind of right around that point where it's a bit risky in terms of trying to come out of your lines and punch it out. But it also is a point where there could be a case where you could get it first. So yeah, again, it was a nice delivery there from Bryce Duke, and again, just kind of went by everybody, because that ball was just kind of hit into the no man's land area. No one dealt with it, and yeah, just like that, the game was all tied up at 2 apiece. Ibrahim then missed one from close range, as now the momentum was back with the host. They were pressing for the lead for the first time. Lapinainen puts it wide from long range before Sullivan on the other end hits one right to Siwas. Edwards then hits one right to Rake, but then in the 89th minute, Yankov would give the lead for Montreal. So he scored here from Raheem Edwards to give the lead for Montreal. And just to make sure, they would add a number 4 as Juan would score from Lapinainen and Opoku. I think that's the first goal for Juan with Montreal. And you can tell that he is very happy the fact that he finally scored his first goal, because he actually did the flash celebration. Something tells me that he's been waiting to do that celebration for a very long time now since he hasn't scored a goal in quite some time. But yeah, in the end, Montreal, they get the much needed 4-2 win against the Union. The shots in this one, 14 shots for the 8 that the Union has, 5 shots on goal for the 6 that Montreal has, 5 shots off target for the 1 that the Union has, 1 shot on block for the 2 that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession the Union has in this game. And it is pretty clear that the Union need to tear it down. I mean, the court is basically dead now. Now, it is time for them to go through a rebuild. And in fact, I might actually be doing a video talk about this disastrous season that the Union, of course, are having very soon. Probably not this week because I got a lot of videos to do this week, especially we have some midweek games that is gonna happen as part of the 4th of July festivity we're gonna see in the middle of the week. But yeah, again, the Union, it is pretty clear that in the summer, I would expect them to maybe start to hit the reset set button. And the same case for this off season as well. The core is dead. The window is clearly shut now, and that they hope that they can start this rebuild and start getting themselves back to where they have always been the most consistent team in the Eastern Conference for the past couple of years. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is New England and the Columbus Crew. So, if you look at the first 10 minutes of this game, it looked like it was promising for the Revs because, coming into this game with a lot of confidence, coming 4 wins in a row against one of the best team in the league, that is the Columbus Crew. And after 10 minutes, with the way that after Boateng scores here, and it was kind of a gifted of a goal too because it came off of a bad turnover from Maria and a bad turnover for Columbus. It looked like things were going to go well for New England. And yeah, that's the only happiness that Revs fan would get because, yeah, this is a game that just kind of shows you when Columbus is at their best, no one in this league can stop them. And they kind of also just show you that why they are the defending champion of MLS. Because after them going down 1-0 early, Cucho did look to respond, but he missed wide. But in the 17 minutes, he would score either way. So he scored from Ramirez and Swatsky to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Though, yeah, that was not great defending there from New England, especially from Arriaga part where yeah, he completely misplayed this one. Basically, played Crucho through, and yeah, when Crucho goes in a 1v1, he's probably gonna bury that one 9 out of 10 times, and he does. So that ties the game up at 1 apiece. Maroni then goes in on goal of his own, but he hits it right to Schulte, as there's definitely some firework that has been shown early in this game with both of these teams getting some good chances. Arston would then puts it wide from close before Rossi would hit it right to Ivicic as would start to press for the lead, and they do get it. As in the 42nd minute, Max Arfson would score from Cucho, and that be to make it 2-1 in favor of the Crew, and then it would be 3-1 right on the stroke of halftime, as Rossi would score from Cucho and Ramirez, and again, just not great defending from the Revs whatsoever. Some optional defending there, but it was also a combination of that and the fact that the Columbus Crew was just playing lights out in this game, just showing why when they're all they have their full gear on hitting in the attack. This is kind of the team you expect, and you better believe there. I don't think there's a lot of team in this league, even maybe Inter Miami can basically stop them. I know some people will talk about. Well, I'm pretty sure Messi and his friends can stop this team. I don't know. I mean, especially with the way how good Columbus is on the attack, and especially with the way that Miami has been iffy at time in defense, I would say that could be a shootout, and that could be a very fun game to watch, especially with the way that I think that's going to be a matchup that's going to be coming soon, and also could be a matchup we could see in the playoffs. But we do head to halftime with the Crew leading 3-1, and in the second half, Baroni did puts it over from close range. So give credit to New England; they were still trying hard. And again, this is the thing that is different from this Revs team from before. This team would just simply lie down, but the Revs have definitely go through for a bit of a resurgence, and they're definitely in the fight. But again, there was just no match in terms of the quality that the Crew was. The Crew was definitely playing their best game of the season in this one. Though again, not much really happened to the start of the second half, which I thought that favored Columbus. Farsi would then puts it wide from close range before Ramirez puts it high from long range. And in the 72nd minute, Camacho would score from Rossi to make it 4-1 in favor of Columbus. And yeah, again, just no one was marking Camacho there. That was not great defending there from the Revs in the set piece. I mean, defending has been a problem at times this season for the Revs. It has gone better, at least in the last couple of games, because of the good run that they had. But man, they really gone back to early season form with the way that they defended in this game. Though that being said, I also thought that as good as Columbus was on the attack, there were a couple of times where they were giving the ball away in bad spot in this game too, but it didn't really quite matter because in the 80th minute, Steven Morer would score the fifth goal of the game. He scored from Rossi and off Arnston. That came off of a lightning counter attack there for the Columbus Crew. And yeah, in the end, it's a 5-star performance for the Crew on the road. They win 5-1 against one of the hottest team in the league, that is the New England Revolution. And the shots in this one, 19 shots compared to 8 that New England has, 5 shots on goal compared to 7 that Columbus had, 7 shots off target compared to 1 that New England has, 6 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that New England has. And possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that New England has in this game. And again, this game is just a reminder that when Columbus is hitting all cylinder there right now, I don't think there's a lot of team in this league, if any, can actually stop this team. And it's unfortunate that New England just kind of ran into to that team. I mean, I think when you also look at how they play in this game, I know the scoreline is lopsided, but they had their moments in this one. But yeah, they just kind of ran into a machine. That is the Columbus Crew, and a team that is definitely rising up in the standings. And I will not be surprised now when playoff time comes. You better believe this is going to be a team alongside with Inter Miami and maybe even FC Cincinnati could be considered to be contender in the Eastern Conference this year. Now, moving on in the next one is the Red Bulls and DC United. So yeah, this game I think is kind of a microcosm of the problem the Red Bulls has had in the last couple of games. So again, the Red Bulls have been playing well in these last couple of games, but the frustrating part for the Red Bulls, at least in the last couple of games, they cannot do well in terms of their finish. Their finishing has just been way too poor in these last couple of games, and it has cost them points in the last couple of games. And this was kind of another one of them against a 10-man DC team. And I know they did eventually come back in this one, but if you're a Red Bulls fan, this has to be very infuriating. That this is, I think, now the third times that in the last 5 or 6 matches where it's a winnable game and they were by far the better team, and they don't get the maximum point out of it. Now, early on, Kutibietro puts it wide on the volley before Click puts it wide from long ranges. I thought DC was actually the better team. They were on the front foot and were looking for the opening goal, and they get it in the 6th minute as Jared Stroud against his former team. He's scored here for Miro to give the Red Bulls a 1-0 lead. He did sort of celebrate against his former team a little bit. I mean, I was also interested to see whether or not if he was going to do so, especially knowing that he is facing against the first team that he played for. And usually you see when players score against their former team, especially is the first team that you play for and sign as a homegrown player, you don't usually want to celebrate against that unless certain circumstances has happened. But Jared Stroud did kind of celebrate a little bit there, and why not? That gives DC a 1-0 lead. Manuel did look to answer. In fact, he instantly tried to answer there, but he missed wide in the 7th minute before Nealis would heads it wide from close range as the Red Bulls. Good response from them. They were pressing back, trying to get the equalizer, and they have a chance to do so as a penalty was given to them after Patola brought down Nealis in the box, which allows Manuel to step up from the penalty spot, and he buries it to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And really, I also forgot to mention, I forgot to write here on the board that Dahome, of course, got himself sent off here in the 20th minute of a second yellow card, and I just said it's all gone wrong for DC. I mean, after a very positive first 7 minutes of this game, it has just gone completely sideways, and this is where you feel like, yeah, with the way how DC has been playing in the last couple of games, they are gonna get absolutely demolished by the Red Bulls, just like what we saw earlier this year in the Atlantic Cup. In the 30th minute, Token would puts it wide from long range before Nealis would hits it high from long range in the 33rd minute as the Red Bulls had all the momentum. They were pushing hard to try to get the lead. But then in the first minute of stoppage time, or actually the 3rd minute of stoppage time, is against the run of play, Pedro Santos would score here to give the lead back for DC. It was a wonderful free kick there from Pedro Santos, just a reminder that he still got it. I mean, yeah, he is winding down to his twilight of his career, but he can still definitely hit those free kick goals like he did during his time with the Columbus Crew. But yeah, that gives DC a 2-1 lead, a really unexpected 2-1 lead heading into halftime in this Atlantic Cup, with the fact that the Red Bulls were by far the better team for the majority of the first half. Now in the second half, not much really happened in the start of the second half. Again, I think that favorites DC because you want to make this game ugly. You do not want to give the Red Bulls some momentum. They were really holding firm a 10-man DC side, at least in the early bit. That would change though. Stroud would then puts it wide from long range before Berkwood heads it wide from the header. Morgan then heads it wide from close range as the Red Bulls really started to pile on the pressure. This is where DC started to really hold on for dear life. And we talked about how many times before when you're the road team and you try to do that, that usually does not end well. And guess what? It didn't end well for DC because right after I wrote that, Cameron Harper would score from oh god, this is kind of embarrassing. I can't read my handwriting there. Oh yeah, it's actually Kyle Duncan, the guy that assists here. So yeah, Harper score here from Duncan to tie the game up at 2 apiece. Click then hits one right to Mara in the 81st. Man, a rare chance for DC in the second half before Miller would palms an a shot away from long range before he denied Morgan from close range. There was then a huge shot for a penalty for the Red Bulls that was not given. Morgan then puts it wide from close range. Again, it was all Red Bulls up to this point. This is when they were really throwing the kitchen sink. DC was just clinging on for dear life here. Ely then had that wide from close before Morgan would puts it wide from long range, and then Carmona would puts it wide from long range as well in the 7 minute of stoppage time. Again, sums up the problem that the Red Bulls has had in the last couple of games, where despite the fact that they've been the better team and they are creating these chances, just aren't able to put it away. And as a result, they have to settle for a 2-2 draw in this game. And despite the fact that they had 23 shots in this one compared to just 9 that DC had, only 4 of them was on target compared to 5 that DC had. So DC actually had more shots on goal compared to what the Red Bulls had. 13 shots off target compared to 8 that DC had. 6 shots off block compared to none that DC had. And possession-wise, 65% possession compared to 35% possession that DC has in this game. No doubt, a very frustrating game again for the Red Bulls, especially again against this DC side that has really been struggling the last couple of games. They will be feeling that they definitely dropped 2 points in this game. But for DC, I mean, I guess they'll be happy with a point here. There's no doubt that they can improve after this game, and the fact that yeah, they felt like they maybe got a little fortunate that they got a point out of this game because the Red Bulls couldn't finish at least in the last couple of games. But yeah, they'll definitely take the point and run with it after knowing that they have not had a good history in this Atlantic Cup, at least recently against the New York Red Bulls. With that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last 4 games to finish off this review for part number 1 of match week number 22. So moving on, we got Dallas and Cincinnati. So it feels like for Dallas, that new interim head coach boost is started to kind of run a little dry because at least in these last 2 games that we started to see the attack start to stall out again. And in this game against the Cincinnati side, that we talk about how bad their back line has been because of most of their players being hurt. They actually put up a pretty good performance in this game, and it turns out to be kind of your typical 1-0 grind out resort that Pat Nolan has known for with this Cincinnati side, at least in the beginning of the season. That is, but in the first half, not much really happened as there was no shot for the first 13 minutes. The first shot of the game did see Aramonde hits it wide from long range. Before Farrington would hits one right to Satano, and then Kamungo would puts it wide from long range before Kamungo would puts it wide on a free header there in the 33rd minute. I have no idea what has happened to Bernard Kamungo last season. Last season, he really showed that I thought he was going to be that next heir of Jesus Ferreira once Jesus Ferreira does move on from this team. But this season, man, I mean, part of that is because he hasn't really been getting the minutes that he needed to. But man, he definitely has not looked like the same player as what we saw from last season. But there was no doubt that Dallas had the momentum, and Cincinnati again, they still have yet to register a shot 35 minutes into this one, so they were going very defensive in this game, and kind of had to, knowing the fact that I think they know that if they open themselves up a little bit too much, that back line is going to get exposed. So I think that's kind of what we're probably going to see with Cincinnati as they trying to nurse their way to the summer transfer window to get reinforcement, where maybe Pat Nolan might dial it back a little bit when it comes to the attack, not opening themselves too much, knowing that they are very exposed at the back. Now, in the 38th minute, the first shot of the game for Cincinnati did see Oriano miss just wide from close range. But then the post would deny Oriano from long range in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, and we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. And in the second half, Well, you know the old saying: if you don't hit it once or twice, the third time is definitely the charm, and the third time is the charm for Lucas Oriano as he scored here from Valenzuela to make it 1-0 in favor of Cincinnati. It was pretty very similar to the one that he hits the post right near the end of the half, and yeah, you can't let Lucas Oriano have those kind of opportunity, let alone two opportunity, because he has shown that he can definitely bury those chances with his deadly left foot, and he did that in the 47th minute, and that gives Cincinnati a 1-0 lead. Farrington did look to answer on the free kick, but it was blocked by the wall. The game then started to become very stop and go. There was tons of whistle and tons of yellow cards that was being shown, but that's good for Cincinnati. They want to be like that, knowing that they want to slow the game down as much as possible, trying to grind out a 1-0 win. Powell would then go in on goal there, but he was robbed by Paz in the near post. So yeah, that's one that Alvis Powell would love to have back. And then speaking of the post, it would deny Legit on the curler in the 68th minute. Then Salentano would deny Aramundi from long range. And then it looked like it was 2-0 in favor of Cincinnati as Kelsey would score on the other end. Problem was the flag did not agree with him, so the goal was disallowed for offside, and I thought Dallas got away with one there because that came after just a WTF turnover in their own box there. That was just a terrible giveaway that almost they got punished because of it. Valenzuela then puts it wide from close range in the 79th minute as Cincinnati looked to slam the door by pushing for the second goal. We then get more stop and go action late in this game, which again, Cincinnati they absolutely would take it because they're trying to grind out another 1-0 win, and that's exactly what they do. It's a 1-0 road win that Cincinnati has with Dallas. They also keep pace with Miami in terms of supporter shield race. As a little spoiler, Miami of course won again. Shots in this one, 16 shots with it, just 6 that Cincinnati has. Both teams had 2 shots on goal, 3 shots off target with the 5 that Dallas had. No shots that was blocked with the 6 that Dallas had, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Cincinnati has. So there's no doubt that it wasn't a pretty performance by Pat Nolan's side by any means of imagination, but they'll take it. And again, this is kind of what I think they might be doing going forward, where they're probably going to go a little bit more defensive now, knowing that they know that they're very exposed if they open themselves up, like what we've seen the last couple of games, and that we'll see whether or not that means we're gonna see the return of those 1-0 return. I mean, I know that might frustrate Cincinnati fans with the way that they would love to see the team go full out on attack and really go for it, but I think you definitely have seen that they try to do that at least the last couple of games, and it just hasn't really worked out for him whatsoever. But for Dallas, again, just this game felt like very similar to those games that Nico Estevez was still in charge. And this is kind of thing about the new interim head coach boost. You get that little boost at least in the first couple of games. Usually maybe lasts like 3 or 4 games, but it will definitely come crashing down once you know the reality will start to set in, and that maybe reality is starting to set in for this Dallas team, that they're starting to get themselves back to where they were before, and that of course is a team that is very frustrating to watch because with all the attacking talent that they had, they just can't put it together. Now, moving on in the next match is the Dynamo and Charlotte FC. So yeah, Houston kind of took a page out of Charlotte in this one. You know, Charlotte, they have won a lot of these 1-0 resort and these kind of grindy resort, but yeah, Houston decided to take a page out of that. And I will say that this wasn't really one of those games where it was kind of a grindy affair. There was actually chances for both of these teams. It could have easily been higher scoring than the 1-0 scoreline would indicate it. So that being said, that 1-0 scoreline happened very early. In fact, it happened literally in the first shot of the game, as in the first shot of the game, Aliud would score from Fiera and Bossi to give the Dynamo a 1-0 lead. So a perfect start here for Houston, and especially it's important to get a good early start against Charlotte, knowing that Charlotte doesn't really allow a lot of goals and a lot of chances for you. So that's definitely affected there. The Dynamo lead 1-0. Vargas did look to respond, but he was denied by Clark before Bossi would puts it wide from long range. Herrera then puts it right to Kalina before Abada would hits one right to Clark. Fiera then puts it wide from close range as both of these teams was exchanging some chances getting that next goal. Fiera would then puts it wide on the doorstep in the 35th before Vargas would puts it high from long range. Again, this doesn't look like a Charlotte game with the way that Charlotte is kind of a team that likes to limit those chances that an opponent will have, and also at times limit their themselves chances as well because they don't usually create too much of it. But at least it was quite entertaining to watch, though. Again, that's something that Dean Smith doesn't really want to see. Though I will say that maybe he kind of wants to see that, knowing that they have to go for it now that they're down 1-0. And then Kalina would deny Vargas, and he actually almost built this one there, but the post bailed him out. And actually, I'm sorry. Yeah. Actually, never mind that. But we do head to halftime with the Dynamo leading 1-0. In the second half, Dorsey would puts it high in the near post before Clark would deny Pekovic after just a bad turnover there from Houston. Yeah, that's something you definitely don't want to do. Bronico then blasts one into the stands in the 70th minute before Diani would puts it wide from close, and Charlotte was starting to press for the equalizer. They were starting to desperate to try and to tie this game up. Houston kind of started to hold on a little bit. Clark would then deny Abada from close range before Tavares would puts it wide from close in the 81st minute. Again, some pressure was really started to put on the Charlotte. Charlotte was really started putting pressure on this Dynamo team. Though Kovacic did have a chance to finish this one, but he was denied by Kalina. I actually should have also rolled. Will that chance come back to haunt the Dynamo? Because, yeah, we've seen before where you have a chance to bury the game and then it can come back to haunt you. Fortunate for the Dynamo, it didn't come back to haunt them. They get the 1-0 victory in this one, as the shots in this one, 17 shots with 11 that Charlotte has, 5 shots on goal for 4 that Houston had, 5 shots off target for 4 that the Dynamo has, 8 shots that was blocked for the none that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 67% possession compared to just 33% possession that Charlotte has in game. But overall, very entertaining game, and a game that I kind of think it play out as you expected with these two teams that again are very flying very under the radar. I think they will eventually get some recognition once they start to pull off some big wins against big team, and we'll see whether or not if that is the case with both of these teams potentially playing against bigger hitters in their respective conference. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is Sporting KC and Austin, and boy did Sporting KC needed this one badly. And I would argue this was probably the best performance that Sporting KC has put in a while at home. Though that being said, again, for Austin, this felt like it was a very typical road game where it's just, let's just hope that we can get a lucky goal and once again get a good counter attack going, because yeah, when that doesn't happen, this is kind of the result you see from Austin. Though in the first half, not much happened, at least early in the first 15 minutes. O'Brien would pulls it wide from long range, as that was the game for a shot. Little do we know that would also be half of the amount of shots that Austin would get in the entire game. Again, it felt like an Austin game with the way that this was a team that just kind of play that bend but don't break, kind of defends, and then just pray on the other end that they'll get maybe one chance and bury it and steal a game like what we see multiple times this season that Austin has done. Russell then had the first shot for Sporting, but he missed high on the free kick, and I thought they would start to put some pressure SKC. But Austin was doing a good job in terms of blocking those shots. But when you block a lot of shots, eventually some of those block shots does gets deflected and goes in, and that's exactly what happened in the 26th minute. Libo would score from Pierre and Polito to give Sporting KC a 1-0 lead. Again, that shot was originally blocked, but it actually took a wicked deflection and it goes in there. So a little bit luck there from Tim Libo, but Sporting KC wouldn't care because luck is something that just have not been on their side a lot throughout this season. O'Brien, though, in the 39th minute, looked like he tied the game up, but the flag did not agree with him, so the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside. Tommy would then puts it wide after Stuver actually didn't get there, and he got away with one. Brad Stuver. I mean, as good as Brad Stuver has been this season, yeah, that would not have been a great moment for him if that was 2-0 in favor of Sporting KC. But we do go to halftime with Sporting KC leading 1-0. In the second half, O'Brien would just completely fluff his lines from close range, and yeah, that is definitely one that he would want to have back. And little do we know, that would actually be it in terms of the shots that Austin would have in this entire game. So basically, Hunter O'Brien was the only guy that was attacking. You might as well just say this is Sporting KC versus Hunter O'Brien. But not much chances really created as Sporting KC continued to dominate possession, and eventually they get the second goal. As a FIFA, he scored from Russell to make it 2-0 in favor of SKC. tell you what, if he's another guy that just kind of came out of nowhere that started to be a knack in terms of the goal scoring because what that's like his third goal that he has scored in the last 5 or 6 appearance. I mean, that's not a bad thing to have considering this season Sporting KC has also been struggling in terms of the goal scoring department at times. But in the 79th minute, well, I wouldn't say at time, but more like more recently. In the beginning, they were actually pretty good in terms of goal scoring. Not so much in the back end of this miserable run that they're in. But in the 79th minute, Radoja would miss wide from close range before Russell would put it wide from long range, and that was pretty much it. Again, Austin really didn't offer too much resistance. It was pretty much an easy win for Sporting KC. Again, something that I think this is the first time I get to say that Sporting KC can basically uh, come out of the game not only with a win, but say that they don't have to worry about any unnecessary drama that happened near the end of the game. But yeah, the shots in this one, 15 shots compared to just 2 that Austin had. No shots on goal for the 2 that Sporting KC had. 2 shots off target for the 4 that Sporting KC had. No shots as blocked for the 9 that Sporting KC had. And possession-wise, 52% possession compared to the 48% possession that Austin has in this game. And like I said, this is a much needed win that Sporting KC has had, and we'll see whether they can, of course, build this up. I know it's not against a pretty poor Austin team, but we'll see whether or not if this team build some confidence and get themselves back in the playoff picture. But for Austin, again, this is the thing that I think is the reason why Austin fans are still very frustrated with Josh Wolf. Yes, they have got away with some of these games where they play like this kind of brand of soccer and maybe get a point or even all 3 points. But you can't just keep doing that every single game. And I know maybe some Austin fans will point that out in some of these games where they did that. But like the old saying goes, that luck is eventually going to run out. Like the luck is, you can be lucky so much time before, yeah, your luck is going to run out. And this is kind of the cold reality that we see with Austin, which is at times this team is basically the worst team in the Western Conference. Maybe even worse than what both Sporting KC and the San Jose Earthquake is on a given day. Now, moving on in terms of the next match, and actually moving on to the last match of this part one of the review, is Nashville and Inter Miami. And I gotta say, Inter Miami, they continue to prove me wrong every single game and prove a lot of doubters wrong. The fact that, all those people say that they can't get wins without Messi and his friends. Yeah, these last couple of games, they're basically making me eat crawls because they got another big win, this time on the road against Nashville. Early on, Boyd would put it wide from long range before Gresso would put it wide from close range. This was a great game from Julian Gresso, and I know he wasn't on the score sheet in this one, but he definitely played a huge part in this win, including assists. It was a lively start for both of these teams with a couple of half chances. Yearwood would hit one right to counter before Campana puts it wide from close, and then the post would deny Gresso from long range in the 34th minute. Before on the other end, Surridge would hit one right to counter. Again, chances were starting to come in for both of these teams, but the question is, who can get that crucial opening goal? Willis would then deny Gresso on the header before Willis would absolutely rob Diego Gomez on a point blank header from the corner. And that's kind of one of the things that I thought coming into this game was going to be interesting to see who is going to be the team that is going to concede the less goal in terms of set pieces, because both of these teams does not do well in terms of defending set pieces. And little do we know that it turns out it was Nashville, the one that were doing worse in terms of defending set pieces, because in the 40th minute, for the second consecutive game, Ian Fry would score from Gresso to give Miami a 1-0 lead. Again, just a free header there from Ian Fry. Just inexcusable defending there from Nashville. And I even wrote, you can play with fire so much in terms of just these optional defending from Nashville on the set piece defending before you're gonna get burned, and they got burned big time. In fact, after Willis denied Cabana from long range in the 44th minute, this was also from a set piece. Though I will say that it was kind of indirectly caused because of it, and it actually turns out to be just a moment of magic there from Jordi Alba. I mean, he doesn't usually score a lot of goals, but when he does score goals, it's spectacular, and what a spectacular goal that is. In fact, I wrote goal of the week with a question mark. Forget that question mark, man. That is not a debate. That is definitely the goal of the week, and maybe even a shout for goal of the year as well. Just an absolute stunner that hit outside side of the box. And yeah, that gave Miami a 2-0 lead. Then we have in the 45th minute where Willis denied Gomez on a 1v1 opportunity. I actually didn't know why I wrote count right there. He did not deny his own goalkeeper. But there was no doubt that Nashville was dying for the halftime whistle. Miami was definitely feeling it. They were looking to try to get that third goal. Fortunately for Nashville, that halftime whistle does come, and they do head to halftime down 2-0 in this game. In the second half, Campano would put it wide from close range, but then a penalty was given to Nashville as Bright would brought down Boy in the box there. And in the 73rd minute, here comes Mukhtar that steps up from the spot, and he buries it. So that at least made it interesting in this game. Mukhtar would then hit it right to counter in the 75th minute. You can definitely sense the momentum was with Nashville. They were pushing hard to try to get the equalizer, and they had a chance to do so in the first stoppage time if it wasn't for counter denying our Uncle from the doorstep of goal. Forwards Pajalko had a really good CONCACAF Champions Cup. I remember he was basically scoring for fun in the early round for Nashville in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. He hasn't really been featured much recently, which I'm kind of surprised because, you know, he did very well in that game. And yes, I know it was against lowly CONCACAF opposition, but I would say that if you're a goal scorer and you're given the confidence, why not give the kid a chance here? And he almost had a chance to score a big goal for Nashville to tie the game up, but it was not meant to be. As in the end, Miami again continue to prove me wrong, continue to prove a lot of doubter wrong that they can't win without Messi. With them getting a win in this one, and also continue to frustrate Cincinnati fans because I'm pretty sure Cincinnati fans feel like this has got to be the time where Miami is going to really slow down because of the way that they don't have Messi and their best player, and yet they keep winning, and this 1 point gap has just been there every single week, even though there's been times where you would expect Miami to fall off, and even when Miami does lose game, Cincinnati would be doing the same thing, and even when Miami doesn't play, Cincinnati would lose games and unable to overtake that supporter shield standing there. Like that's got to be very frustrating, especially if you're the team that is chasing, that is Cincinnati, that is. Shots in this one, 15 shots for the 14 that Nashville has, 6 shots on goal for the 5 that Nashville has, 1 shots off target for the 6 that Miami has, 2 shots on block for the 4 that Nashville has, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that Miami has in this game. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of match week number 22, at least part 1 that is. Tomorrow I will look at the remaining games, which are the West Coast game, including the one that I, of course, went to. And once again, I feel like this is now the 3rd week I said this. My team did not have a good week. In fact, my team has really struggled in these last couple of weeks. Though, of course, unfortunately, my team is the team that is sitting in the bottom of the standings right now, and a team that look like they're spending more time of potentially tanking this whole season than rather uh, be interested in terms of winning, and also spending more time in terms of wanting the owner to be gone, and rightfully so, obviously, than actually winning games. So we'll talk about that game and also my other team, and also the other West Coast game that we had in tomorrow's part 2 of the review for match week number 22. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.